It is Tuesday. Welcome into the best damn pod in the land. Thanks for joining me. And as always, with me, my host, co host, friend, Tan Guy, Dan Dibjack. Dan, what's up, man?
Hey man, yeah, we had a little lake time this weekend, and if you can't tone it, tan it, brother.
Yeah. I can't get that tan. I try, but I'm also cooped up all day, so I'm IT guy. It's problems, I guess. So
Yep.
before I forget, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Thanks guys for all your support too. We've got a great support crew, man. I appreciate all of our viewers. That we have some really, really great Buckeye fans that catch us every week and twice a week, and the comments are great. Everybody's been great, so thank you guys. We appreciate it a lot. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll get back to you. It may not be right away, but we'll get back to you.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
We appreciate all of you.
absolutely. So Dan, big weekend. Like, probably as far as I'm concerned, that was probably the most star-studded weekend of the official visits. We had one or two stars, I'll call it 5 stars in each weekend up until this, but man, so yeah, Tavian St. Clair, Devin Sanchez, and Naeem Offord all commits. Nate Roberts also commit. But then we had David Sanders, Jordan Davison, Dorian Brew, Malik Autry, uh, Jaden Harmon, Zion Ziggy Grady, who is now committed, Jake Cook, and
Who is now
Brody
committed?
Lemon. Yeah, now committed. So,
Yep.
but couple commits coming off that weekend, man. Wow, whew.
Yeah, I think Brockpen Miller was here as well, if
Yeah,
I'm not
Bakum,
mistaken.
yeah,
I
it
think
was.
he got
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
board pen. They went over it on Bucknuts this morning how to say his name. I think I think we should just call him Bro. That kid's electric, man.
Mm,
His film is a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, we're still rated number one in the country in all the recruiting services. There's a couple people that are coming on strong. Um, Alabama, I don't know how many. I think they're going to go too deep on their offensive line recruits this year. But they're loading up on 5-star offensive linemen. But it's going to be a battle till the end. But it was a great weekend.
yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing I loved most about it, and I put this in our notes, was you had Tavian St. Clair, Devin Sanchez, Naeem Offord, and Nate Roberts all in here trying to help solidify that 2025 class. Like, you can't get more Buckeye than St. Clair and the Sanchez's, and now Offord in here. Like the way he said, I just felt like I was always meant to be a Buckeye.
Yeah,
So
and Carter Lowe came to town too, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah,
I think a couple people, maybe I don't know if Eli was down there or not, but
yeah,
yeah, for those folks worried about Naeem Offord, without giving anything away, there is absolutely nothing at all to worry about with Naeem Offord,
no,
especially from his in-state options of Alabama and Auburn.
yeah, no, nothing to be concerned about. And then the Bog Pen Miller thing. I've heard people say that he said it's okay to call him BP. So I'm going to go with
Cool.
BP
Let's go
from
with
now
BP then.
on. We'll
We'll
go
go
with
with
BP.
BP.
Yeah, I know they broke down the enunciation on Bucknuts this morning. I caught about 15 minutes of it in my headset while I was doing some other stuff. But the other thing I was excited about, and I tweeted this and I mean it, like, I love Ohio guys in the trenches. And so, Dan, Jake Cook, I know we have a very good friend in the pod world that is a big fan of Jake Cook, and I was glad to have an Ohio guy join the class. So, what do you think of the Jake Cook commitment? Love it? Hate it?
Love it. Love it. 11 out of 10.
Mm,
First of all, the transformation that kid has gone through over the last year or two to finally earn an offer and be able to accept an offer is awe-inspiring.
hmm
Um, he is a Buckeye through and through. He's going to, you know, chew nails. He's not even going to spit them out. He's just going to swallow
mm,
them. And, maul some people for us. He gets the rivalry, right?
yeah,
That's what I want to see. I mean, if you look back at I want to say our 2014 offensive line. I mean, Taylor Decker was the only 4-star on there, and the other 4 guys were 3-stars, and they were all from Ohio.
Yeah, the comp was Pat Elfline, right, for Jake Cook?
Yeah, because of position and everything else
Okay.
like that. They're expecting him to play center, and Elfline was a center on that team,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. Well, that's why
So
I brought it up.
yeah, so he, I love his mentality. I love what he did to be able to earn that offer. I love that he got pissed when he didn't get it at first.
Yep.
And I love that he didn't hesitate. He didn't play games. The word is that, he announced on this past Friday, but
Correct.
previous Saturday he got his offer and accepted it immediately.
Yeah. So I wanted to put that out there. So you and I dropped hints on Twitter that there was a commitment, but we knew that that commitment was already in the fold. But out of respect, obviously, for Jake Cook, we wanted him to be able to announce it himself. And I know I had people questioning me, like, when's this happening? What's going on? Who is it? And I'm sure you did as well. Guys, we're never going to do that. So if you ask us, like, yes, we may know some stuff. And we did. Like, we knew when he got the offer that he basically committed. And we have an impeccable source that let us know that. And I'm not going to reveal who that is either. But we knew. And of course, like, it's fun to, like, drive up attention for the Buckeyes, but I'm not going to answer you. It's not going to happen. Dan's not going to do it either. We just don't do that. That's not who we are. So Dan, coming off that visit weekend, and I know you're pretty plugged in, especially with a lot of the groups. Who are you feeling good about? I think let's start with who we know is not coming. Let's start with Jordan Davison. And
Jordan Davison is out.
yeah.
From what I've heard, there was a street agent that got involved and was is basically advising him, and it sounds like the NIL demand was nowhere near what we were willing to do. It got really squirrely there for about 24 to 48 hours. But he finally informed Ohio State yesterday morning that he was not going to be accepting their offer. Whether the offer has since been pulled or not, I don't know. And I don't know where he's going. I mean, a lot of people are saying Michigan might meet his number, which would be, hilarious if they did. Because they've been very, very vocal about not paying their recruits, but I think they might actually overpay to be able to say they stuffed us in a locker on a recruit. But at the end of the day, Isaiah West is the number one guy on the running back board for the Ohio State staff, and
Right.
Bo is like 1B.
Yep.
So yeah, Davison's out. Could be Oregon, could be Alabama.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Who knows?
Yeah, I've been feeling the Oregon vibe, but I also could see if he was super salty, he could pick Michigan. But do you have anything factual or anything that we could show that said, like, for sure he came in at 240 pounds? Because the dude played at like 215.
No, his dad tweeted back at that and said he weighed 224. Which is heavier than what he played at. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, Berm's the one that put that out there, and I trust Berm.
Yeah.
Now we don't know what goes on in the beat. We don't know if folks are sometimes asked to put a narrative out there or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I can't imagine Berm made that up.
No, I'm not trying to debunk it. I just like, nobody sent me a picture of the scale with him on it, but yeah.
No, man, but he looked. If you looked at his pictures from what
he looks bigger.
Was it? He looks, and his lower half is thick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he looks bigger, but I don't know. I mean, they say his idol is Zeke Elliott, so maybe he's been at the table.
Maybe he's been eating. So on the flip side of that, with Davison out, everybody's been like, "Whoa, are we going to do a third running back?" I think Ohio State's okay with where they're at, but there's a name that keeps getting floated around, Anthony Turbo Rogers, who's currently committed to Alabama. He's a back like we haven't really had in a while. It's kind of a scat back kind of kid. lightning speed, Percy Harvin type speed. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying like that kind of quick.
Yeah.
Um, you think Ohio State gets fully in on him, or are they just fishing right now?
No, I mean, I think they're in on him. I think Coach Locke I think he and Coach Locke are from the same hometown, maybe.
They are. Mm-hmm.
Um, which is weird because I thought he was from Alabama,
Mm.
or is it just that he's an Alabama commit? I
I
know he's
think
down
he's
at
just
IMG right now.
yeah, he is an IMG, and
Yeah,
I
but
I
apparently
don't.
they're from the same part of what is it, Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is where they're from originally. But yeah,
It all
he's
blends together down there.
he's 5'8". He's a little scat back. He's very electric. Yeah, you know what was interesting though, Chad, is that there were some murmurs out there that Bo Jackson may have hinted that he didn't know it was going to be a three-back class, which is really, really hard for me to believe that
Mm.
because, I
I
mean, it's
haven't
been
heard that.
pretty. I mean, Locke. I don't know. I mean, Locke puts out his power of three tweet and all that. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I don't think these kids are. You know, I don't think all of these kids are as dialed into like the Twitter world and all that, and where all these things are talked about on a consistent basis. So
Sure.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give you a couple names now, and you tell me in or out. So we'll save one. So I'm gonna go Dorian Brew.
in
Okay.
lock,
Yeah. And then Brody Lemon.
he should be in. I mean, I don't know what he's waiting for.
Okay. And then obviously the Malik Autry.
I'm gonna say in.
Ooh.
I think he's gonna decommit and then commit to us. I think it's gonna happen inside of a week, and then I can totally see us losing him at the end.
Who have you been talking to? No, I'm 100% aligned with you. I do think he decommits. I my if anybody would ever listen to me, my advice is let the visit wear off a little bit before you make a commitment. But um I could see that 100%. I know he wants to be close to home, but it also helps that Zion Ziggy Grady commits to Ohio State. They're close, they're buds. And he tweeted like congratulations and a lot of these things Malik did for Zion. So I
Was
like
was Malik? I know you've got him on the list. Let me try to find it. Was he actually here this weekend, or was it the weekend before?
so the list I have is the official list that came from Ohio. This tweet came from Ohio State football.
Oh yeah,
The,
he was here.
the recap of official visits. So yeah, all right, and then this one, the one that everybody wants to know about, David Sanders, in or out?
I'm gonna say he's in. I think they knocked it out of the park. They've absolutely, positively, unequivocally overcome the distance issue. It's no
Okay.
longer an issue.
What about the
Um,
girlfriend?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but like it's high school, you know.
Yeah. How far is
Um,
Knoxville from Columbus?
it's probably about
Was-
6 to 7 hours.
I was gonna say about 6 hours. I
It's
would
about the
guess.
same as it is from Nashville.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can get up there in about 5.5 to 6 hours from Nashville, depending on what time of the day I leave. But Sanders, I think they knocked out of the park on every possible level they could. They were really, really shrewd and connected him with some orthopedic surgeons over at what is it, Wexler
Mm-hmm. Wexler
Medical
Medical
Center,
Center.
and spent some time there. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not something on the table to pay for his medical school. And if it's not, it should be. I almost feel bad putting that out there because I don't want anybody
No
else to
comment.
steal the idea.
No comment.
But and I've been told that we won't be outbid for him. Now, I did have somebody say that we'll match anything Tennessee does, which scares me a little bit. Does that mean Tennessee's currently higher and we're not, but we'll match it in the 11th hour? If so, that worries me a little bit. If it means that we're both the same right now, and if they up it, we'll up it, then I feel a little bit better. But I think we've got him now. You know, Chuck did that bit the other day where people were thinking that he threw up a Vols sign in that Instagram picture with the Armstrong brother. I mean, I don't know. It looks like he might have. Who knows?
Well, the Devontae was doing this, so I don't know. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I
That
got to go
that
back
one,
and look at it.
yeah, I looked at it. I mean, it kind of looks like it. Who knows? They're kids. They're goofing around. I mean,
Yeah,
when I was in school, we did this a lot. So like,
yeah.
whatever.
I mean, there's rumors that he was, in touch with Tennessee throughout the trip, but that's not uncommon.
No,
It's not. I mean, the other schools are definitely reaching out and staying on their mind. It's almost a game.
yeah. So I will say this, that I have, and I think you've probably heard this too now. Um, that Ohio State, when it comes to David Sanders, um, view him as a generational talent and may or may not, but are pulling money from other position groups to ensure that they can put their best foot forward for David Sanders.
Yeah,
And
I don't. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know you're fine. And so therein, that gives me confidence that it is Ohio State and Tennessee and then everybody else. I think we have a slight edge coming off of the weekend. Ask me again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there's rumors out there that he's a silent to us and that he has been, but you know, in the words of Juck, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, as you and I have talked about, I feel like the days of silent commitments are those are over. Like it just do it the way NIL is.
Yeah.
So
Well,
okay,
the day of hard commitments are over until they sign the
yeah,
NLI.
till National Signing Day. Yeah.
You know.
Um, and then there was a player on here, and I'm not leaving David Sanders in the win, but we are where we are with him. So Jaden Harmon, not somebody I knew a lot about, not somebody I've heard them really be super duper in on. And I didn't get any kind of a vibe about him coming off the weekend. Did you hear anything?
No, nothing at all. Everybody was kind of wondering why he was here.
Okay,
I
same
mean,
same.
he's an Alabama commit.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. It was
I mean,
yeah,
unless he just wanted to, unless he's buddies with Autry and Grady
yeah, yeah,
and offered.
yeah. Okay,
Um,
I'm trying not to be crazy, but I was like, what?
who knows? I mean, sometimes programs will send a player up there to get reports back as to what's going on.
Yeah,
But I mean, he was the only linebacker there. I would think, I would have to think he got our best shot.
yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm not downplaying it. I just didn't hear anything about it at all.
Yeah, he was on the list for a while.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm glad he made the trip. I'm sure he got his $5,000, but um, didn't hear much about it, and that's okay. Like sometimes that happens. Sometimes kids come in and it just doesn't click, and that's fine. Okay, on to the next thing.
yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned and we talked about BP Miller commits. So I watched some of his film. Man, that guy's long and lanky. He can move. So with that commitment and looking like the lead for Vernell Brown has completely flipped back to Florida, which I kind of anticipated with the legacy thing. We talked about it. And now, and I'm going to admit this on live. I am starting to lose faith in the Decorian more to Ohio State ideology. The more and more and more I hear, and then to hear Bill Kerlick say, feels like Texas. I don't think we're going to get any of the big three, big four with the Jamie French, Vernell Brown, and the Corian Moore. And maybe, just maybe, this is one of those classes where you have the Bob Penn Miller developmental guy, and then you have, this year obviously we had Jeremiah Smith and Mylan Graham, 2 5 stars. You have a 5 star next year in Chris Henry. It's okay to take a couple developmental guys? Question mark. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think we've got a 5 star guy in the class already. I think Des Jones is a 5 star talent.
Okay. What
I
about
mean,
Quincy Porter?
Quincy Porter, rating wise, is right there. He's
Yep.
already right there. But Des Jones, I point out Des Jones because he's so far underranked, like unranked, like unranked or
Underranked.
underranked that it reminds me of Mylan Graham. Like when Mylan Graham, I got to go back and verify what his ranking was, but I want to say he wasn't ranked when Heartline offered him,
That sounds right.
and he finished as a 5 star. When you look at Des Jones, his route running is absolutely elite. It's the best I've seen of any prospect in this class, including the big three.
Okay.
All right. His hands are fantastic. He's already, he's got a good solid build on him already. I think he is a 5 star talent that's underranked. Having said that, if you look at the big three, I think we're still in on more. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't pull off more in the end. To your point earlier, it's not that they're pulling money away from other position groups. It's that they've been told, go out and get us some guys in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and we'll talk about the other positions afterwards. And when you look at the receiver room, Dan Rubin's the one that uses the phrase "a sandwich year," which is kind of what we've been.
That's a good analogy.
Which is kind of what we've been talking about with the 26 quarterback, right?
Yeah.
If you look at what's behind him, you've got Mylan Graham and Jeremiah Smith are true freshmen. Okay.
Yeah.
You've got Carnell Tate and Brandon Innes who have at least one more year left after this year before they can declare. I can see Innes sticking around if he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
For a 4th year.
Bryson Rogers.
Bryson Rogers is in there. And then you look ahead, you've got Chris Henry coming in next year, the year after this class. Number 1 player in the country. So
right.
I don't think it's far-fetched to say, these kids are looking at the board and saying, well, like, I'm a dog, but, these other guys are dogs too. And there's only, you only put the most you can put on the field at a time is, I guess if you wanted to get crazy, you could put 6 receivers on the time and put one of them in Wildcat, but the reality is you're putting 3, 4 tops, on the 5, at the most.
Okay.
And that's in a, very, very few packages. So I'm not worried about it.
No. There's nothing, no worry from me. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, I'm not. And if Heartline offers a kid, I'm all in on him.
Yeah. Well, the one you brought up, Des Jones, the one thing that caught my eye about him, and I can't say that I watched his route running a lot. I'll be honest. I've seen some film.
He's so good.
But his hands, he has like the soft hands where like it's natural, it's fluid. There's no, like, when you watch him catch the ball, it's so, like, there's something about it. And I understand why Heartline offered him. But yeah,
he's got the self-proclaimed best hands in America.
Okay.
He put a video out recently showing us why, and it's hard to argue with.
Yeah, true. Very true. So the other thing that came out of the weekend, and there's a whole lot of this going on, is that Texas all of a sudden is in on Madden Ferramo, the linebacker, and seems to have backed off on Riley Pettyjohn. And now there's a whole lot of smoke about Riley Pettyjohn to Ohio State. And I just want to get your take. I like Riley Pettyjohn a lot. I think, man, if you could pull him into this linebacker class, talk about James Laurinaitis getting goated real fast. What do you think? Good chance?
If you believe the smoke, the word out there is that Texas wasn't able to get a hold of him, that he's kind of gone dark on them when, and it was on the heels of finding out that Texas maybe greenlighted Ferramo and didn't greenlight Pettyjohn.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would find it hard to believe that Pettyjohn wasn't already greenlighted, but that's the word that's out there, and these things, and that's on their boards.
Yeah.
Now A&M's apparently in,
Yeah,
you
A&M
know,
isn't on Pettyjohn. Yeah.
in the mix, but yeah, that linebacker spot's going to be really interesting. I mean, there's rumblings out there that Illinois might be a bigger player in the TJ Alford sweepstakes than people would possibly think. Apparently, they got some cash.
Okay. Well,
You
I mean,
know,
they might. I mean, so I will say this with a like view of I have always liked Brett Bielema. So he can coach football. He's another Greg Schiano. He's a hell of a football coach. Now, is he a great head coach? I don't know, but he's a hell of a football coach.
yeah.
And so yeah, I mean I don't see Alford going anywhere. I really don't. But there's always some truth to the rumors. And so, and normally if something percolates up to me like the Petty John thing, because I tend to stay out of the rumor mill, which I try to deal in facts, but that there seems to be some real momentum. I'll use the word momentum behind the Petty John thing. And wow, talk about a class. Eli Lee, Riley Pettyjohn, TJ Alford, and then you bring in Justin Hill as your jack. Talk about, I mean, wow, that is along the lines of Brian Hartline, in the OG Volt. So
Oh yeah.
I like it.
We were also talking about calling our shot there. Justin Hill's in the class.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with you. So I wanted to get your opinion on the two guys on the defensive line because we've been talking about the trenches. We talked about David Sanders. Um, And so you add Zion Ziggy Grady, who I've been fortunate enough to watch some film of, and the guy he's got some power, but he's definitely an edge. Like he's 220, he's definitely an edge. He's quick. I think the most interesting thing I've found about him, and I'm just curious for you, is he gets skinny on the line. Like he
Yeah.
can, like his swim move and the way he gets skinny is impressive. And I like to use that term because I use it for running backs too when they get skinny coming through the line.
Yep.
So thoughts on Ziggy Grady, and then we'll do Autry real quick. And I
I
have
mean,
one
he's a
other
great
thing.
pickup. He's a top 80, top 70
Mm-hmm.
guy. I think top 10
Yep.
or 11 in,
Yep.
edge in the
Top 10.
country.
Yep.
It's a great pickup. I mean, we right now have two commitments from two of the best players in Alabama.
Yep.
And there's a very good chance that we're going to get Malik Autry, who is right up there with those guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that that's happening. But
Open up the pipeline. Open it
yeah,
up.
it'll
Drill,
be
baby,
interesting though.
drill.
We got to hang on to those guys. But no, I mean I like Zion Grady a lot, and he is best buddies with Malik Autry, so
Okay.
I consider them a package deal right now.
I'm curious too. So we have Zahir Mathis in the class. So you have Zahir Mathis and Zion Grady on the edge. Both they're very, very, very similar molds. You know how Brian Hartline has his guys. Well, LJ has his guys too. And they seem to be cut from a very similar mold. So nice looking class so far on the defensive line, and then you get that
Yeah,
beef eater in there in Autry.
yeah. I'm not calling it, but I'm not going to be shocked. I kind of expect Zahir Mathis to not be in this class.
Mm.
Um, the word is that on his most recent visit, he was like 195. Or two visits ago, he was 195. He came back, he was at 200. That he's having a really hard time getting above 200. He also took an OV to Penn State this past weekend, and I think
Hmm.
he's from Pennsylvania, isn't he?
I think so.
He's
Hmm.
either from Pennsylvania or that you know
I think
Maryland
he's from like the
DC.
DMV area over there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. That where there's no allegiance to really anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so my question about Autry then for you, Dan, and I know this is kind of like a thing for us. 3 tech, 1 tech. Where do you see him
Wherever
long
the hell
term?
he wants to play.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I mean, you slide him anywhere between the 1 and the 5.
Okay. All right.
He is 6'5" and a half, 320, 330, and can move.
Yep.
He is a guy you do whatever you can to get on the defensive line.
Got it. So we're heading into the not so fun time for us as podcasters slash Buckeye fans. We're heading into the quiet period slash dead period. So, June 24th to July 24th, college coaches not permitted to visit high schools, and recruits are not allowed to go to the visit campuses and speak with coaches in person. Contact between recruits and coaching staffs is prohibited, but written and phone correspondence is allowed. So they'll be texting, etc. Recruits may be able to visit college campuses to see friends or family or attend a sporting event, but they cannot have contact with coaches while there. Just so you know, Michigan. And the quiet period directly following that, the 25th to the 31st, coaches may only have face to face contact with college bound student athletes or their parents on the college's campus. So, to be clear about what's happening and what's coming for the next month, Dan and I both believe we're still going to get commitments. There's still going to be things happening, but there's a reason it's called the dead period because it's dead.
Yeah. But like to your point, written and phone correspondence is allowed, and that doesn't mean just text. That means you can pick up the phone and talk to
right.
guys.
Correct. Yeah.
I wonder if they're allowed to FaceTime.
Good question.
It's on the phone.
Yeah, it's on the phone. I bring this up because there's a month now a month and a week between now and the end of July, and there's been this thing happening at Michigan behind the paywall where apparently they're lying to their people and saying that the NCAA has not found anything about anything that they were doing. Guys, it's not true. I wish you wouldn't listen to them.
It's gaslighting at its finest.
Yeah.
We will always refer you back to the 13-page document from the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Which literally says the exact opposite.
Yeah.
That evidence didn't disappear. It didn't become uncredible. It didn't become unreliable. They're just having some fun with their folks and trying to keep their spirits up.
Yeah.
And it's recruiting season.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that.
Well, there you go. You beat me to the punch.
Those recruits see that in their feed, and they're going to believe it.
Yeah.
They don't know how awful the Michigan beat is. They don't know how unreliable they are. They don't know how much they lie. They don't know how much they're not in the loop.
Right.
They listen to our shows to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying our show.
Yeah.
We do have some Michigan people that creep into the comments every once in a while and try to be funny behind their little avatar and generic, screen name. But I'm talking about Ohio State message boards. I'm talking about the big Ohio State podcasts. Like, they're really active. Like, they,
Well, I can remember, and I remember this very early on when I was first getting into like podcasting, and then like I would comment on Bucknuts and stuff. And I remember Dan Rubin one time complimented me because he said, I appreciate people that use their real name and their real picture when they're going to make a comment or have a question. And then like he brought my question up. And so if you're hiding behind an avatar and your screen name is I love rock and roll, whatever, okay, cool. Good job hiding behind your stuff. Twitter tough guy or YouTube tough guy. All right. So
keyboard warriors.
Yeah, keyboard warriors. So I'm curious then, Dan, I didn't prep you for this. Since there's a dead period, what are the odds in the next 5 weeks that the NCAA does put out that NOA to Michigan, since they don't have anything else going on?
I think it's still early based on precedent.
Okay.
I mean, that would be moving really fast. Now, all indication is that they do want to move faster than normal on this.
They said they want to expedite, right?
Yeah, but and that was their words.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they also want to be thorough and complete. So who knows?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It was just something to talk about because it's the dead period. I don't. There's always a chance.
I mean, it would be. I mean, we got an election coming up, so you think about how the media spins their narratives. It would be, on one hand, you would think, okay, it would be the right thing to do
Mm-hmm.
to go ahead and get it out so that these recruits can make informed decisions.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
On the other hand, I don't think the NCAA thinks that way,
No,
especially with the transfer portal existing.
but they
I'm sure.
can't immediately transfer unless Sharon Moore is fired.
No, but kids aren't commuting. I'm talking about current recruits.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
before signing day,
yeah,
they could flip.
kids,
Okay.
and even then, there's a pretty good precedent of schools allowing kids out of their NLI if something like that happens.
Yeah.
But you got the early enrollees in January, so it could be a Julian Sane type issue where, hey, listen, I want out. I don't know. I don't know how that would happen if they enroll already. There's a difference between signing your NLI, not enrolling, and being released from it, and enrolling. Julian Sane was only able to transfer because Nick Saban retired.
Right.
So,
okay. All right. My final topic, Dan. I'm going to switch off of Michigan for you because I know we could get down a real rabbit hole. So there's been a lot of chatter about Caleb Downs, running back / punt return. Juck did something on it, and I know we brought it up on our last pod, and I was having some technical issues, so I didn't even get to my point on it. So I want to start with number one. Are you okay with him returning punts?
Unequivocally, yes.
I don't like that.
I mean, dude, come on.
Convince me. Hey, you convinced me on Devin Brown. You took 3 weeks and you convinced me on Devin Brown being the starter. So convince me that Caleb Downs should return punts and not get his leg broken.
Charles Woodson returned punts. Desmond Howard returned punts. Ted Ginn returned punts. Did Chris Campbell return punts while playing both ways? Was he a punt returner? I don't remember. Or was it Jenkins? I don't know, man. I mean, it's football, bro. I mean, you put – and it's been so damn long since we've had a punt return. Yes, if he's our best option at punt returner, let the man return punts. Now, do I think there might be some other better options out there? Maybe. I'd love to see Mylan Graham give a shot. I'd love to see Brandon Ennis give it a shot. I don't – you know who I don't want to see back there returning punts?
Don't you say it. Don't say it.
I'm going to say two people. Number one, I don't want to see a Mecca back there.
Okay, fair. Yeah, no, neither do I.
Not because I'm worried about him getting hurt, but I don't think he's our best option.
He doesn't have the burst.
And then no, I do not want to see Jaden Ballard returning punts ever again.
Boo.
Never. Not even on pro day. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
But yes, if Caleb Downs is our best option to return punts, then yes, I want him returning punts.
Okay.
I want him on offense?
Yeah, that was my next part.
I mean, maybe if there's an injury or two over there, then I would be open to it. Okay. But there's a bigger difference. There's a big difference between like a Chris Gamble, Charles Woodson going and lining up in the slot and running some patterns and handing the ball off and, going up in between the tackles.
Correct.
It's a huge difference. So, is it nice to know that he's got the skill set to do that if there's some injuries? Sure. I don't think that's something we should be doing a whole heck of a lot of.
Okay.
But punt returners, yes. If he's our best option, put him back there. I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Okay. I'll start with offense.
Saquon Barkley returned kicks for Penn State.
I know. I remember the one he returned against Ohio State because I was there.
Yeah, in 18, right?
Yep. I was there. I watched it. I was like, what is happening?
Kickoff. Yeah.
So, okay. Offense. I hate it. It's gimmicky. I don't want to do it. Please don't. Ryan Day.
You talking about Caleb?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I've seen this, and like whenever that player's in there, they key off of them, and that's fine. The reason, and I've went on record saying this, the reason it worked with Chris Gamble is because he played on offense a lot. Like that guy played 70% of the snaps that year on offense and defense.
He
The
had like
reason it worked,
120 some snaps in the
yeah,
national championship game against Miami.
right. And the reason it worked with Charles Woodson is because he played on offense a lot. If you're talking like 2 snaps a game, it doesn't make sense to me to put that risk on there. The risk is higher than the reward.
Yeah.
Punts. I don't like it. But I would accept it if he's the best option. But I don't like it because I feel like that's a really good way to blow out a knee when somebody dives at your feet. But I would accept it if if he's the best option. Now, I do think having Mylan Graham, now he's a true freshman, I get it. Or Brandon Ennis, like both of those guys are great options. But let's see what shakes out. I don't, and I don't agree with Jaden Ballard, but I have my soft spot for Jaden Ballard. So, anyways, but yeah, I would be like, I guess I would be like in the middle on the punts if he's the best option. Okay, fine. I'll give you that, but the offense, please don't do it unless there's, like you said, unless we're down to like, I don't know, TC Caffey at running back or something, and and everybody else is hurt, which has happened to us because Xavier Johnson took snaps at running back in the Peach Bowl, which was actually the real national championship game. So,
Yep.
Okay, well, there we are. I don't know. I didn't get to do the segment with you and Dave. My internet kept cutting out, so I really wanted to talk about it because I'm very, I'm very passionate about that. So, like, that bothers me. And I think it's because I was like, I told you this. It's because I was such a big Browns fan early, when I was younger. And then when the Browns drafted Kellen Winslow and they had him on kickoffs, and the dude blew his knee out and like it was out a whole year, and I understand rookies got to play on special teams, but he's your number one draft pick. He's probably the best player on your offense. Just stuff like that. Fluke things happen. So injuries happen. It's football.
I didn't look as when did he return kicks in college?
No, he was just on the kickoff team. Like he was running down to cover a kick and got busted up, blew his knee out.
Oh, he's a rookie, man.
Yep, I know. I'm just saying, it's football. Injuries happen. It's just, but that's what my mind always goes back to. That, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Any last words, man?
No. I'm just anxious to see some booms come up here.
Yeah,
it's a lot closer than I thought. I mean, we're talking about next week that a lot of these kids have commitment dates set up.
Yep. I'll be excited to see. I'm really following this Malik Autry thing. Yeah. Personally, I'm a little more invested in this than I should be. It's probably because I don't like Auburn.
The kid's a beast.
Yeah, I just don't like. I don't like Auburn.
I mean, I'm hearing Auburn is leading with NIL.
Yeah,
and trying to circumvent parents
and
just go straight to players, and that it's a big turnoff to a lot of folks.
Yeah. Well, we know they did it with Cam Newton, so and somehow magically won a national championship.
Yeah.
So, and when NIL wasn't allowed, but still,
you talk about a player carrying their team.
Yeah.
I mean, Cam Newton there wasn't a lot else on that offense.
No.
That's one of the best seasons in college football history, period.
Yeah. There's been very few quarterbacks that I think of that could truly will their team to win. Vince Young was one. Yeah. Cam Newton's another. Tim Tebow. Yeah. But there have not been a lot that could just say I'm it.
Tebow had a lot of freaking talent around him.
He did. Yeah, he lost a few too, but yeah, I'll give you the top two: Vince Young, Cam Newton. Like as far as guys that like they didn't have a lot on offense and they just willed their team down the field. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man.
Cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's Tuesday, so have a good rest of your week, I guess. I hope you guys are enjoying the sun and getting out a little bit. I wish I could do it a little bit more, but Dan will get tan enough for the both of us. And otherwise, you guys have a good week. Stay safe out there. And as always, go
Go
Bucks.
Bucks.